Hey, probably about every 3 or 4 weeks we get a little bit of a Brody Twitter stir up, you know. I'm not going to call it X. This time it was about the Pro Tour posting player sponsorship announcements. So if any of you have followed Brody long enough, that
you should.
Yeah, I would say what gets him stirred up the most a lot of times is like entities in disc golf confusing their roles. Yeah, I would say that's one thing that gets him stirred up a lot. It happened a lot when the Disc Golf Network was shouting out discs that people were throwing, and he was like, "That's, that's advertising. Like they're confusing their role."
Yeah.
And hey, to be fair, that one doesn't happen anymore. So that one worked, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
This time, this one's a little interesting because he tweeted this because the Pro Tour, I think it was when they tweeted out Chandler Fry had moved to Thought Space Athletics. And he tweeted basically like, why is the Pro Tour announcing this? Like, this doesn't make sense. And then people immediately were like, well, like, doesn't like the NFL tweet if a player gets traded? And he was like, yeah, but that's a team. Like, this is a manufacturer. He was basically saying like that doesn't seem like something they should be promoting because it's not really a part of their league, I guess is the argument. Like he was comparing it to like if this would be like the NBA announcing that a player switched their shoe sponsor, like the NBA's official account. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on this? Because I have some thoughts that I've developed. And I will say this, Brody, he at the end of this entire like thread of quote tweeting and all this, he backed his stance back from they shouldn't be doing it, I don't like it, to I don't care. So what are your thoughts? His official stance changed to I don't care about this, which I thought was really funny that it was just a quote tweet and he was like, I'd like to retreat my stance to I do not care about this.
That's really funny. I don't know. I think there's definitely always room in disc golf specifically for disc golf companies to act a little bit more professionally, I feel like, because a lot of the way that we do everything in disc golf is not the way that a typical professional sport would do it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It doesn't particularly bother me just because it's kind of just how it's been.
So you're on the I don't care crowd.
I've been in disc golf for a long time, and it's like the only sport that I've really been in. So like I understand how disc golf sport works.
Yeah.
So like it doesn't.
Fair enough.
Maybe not that I don't care or that I really have an opinion on it. It just doesn't surprise me.
Okay.
I think that's kind of
what
what
you think.
I'm almost in that boat where I don't care, but
he's almost there. He's not quite though.
But I will say, like, it just seems like the Disc Golf Pro Tour is just trying to be like a news outlet in a sense of just trying to like spread that word when I don't think it necessarily needs to come from them. It should probably just come from the manufacturer and or the player.
Yeah, it is definitely blurred lines.
Yes.
Of what your role is, and also it is a little bit like they're marketing for a company at that point.
I think,
which is interesting.
So
really
I think
weird.
you two both like made good points, which like point number one being disc golf is unique, right? Like our sport doesn't function. So like saying that a player announcing their new sponsorship in disc golf is like LeBron. I wouldn't even use LeBron because that's not really a fair example. He's like the most popular athlete on the planet. Saying that Damian Lillard, an NBA basketball player, switched shoe sponsors is a bit different because nobody cares really during the game about what shoes Lillard is playing in. They care.
But in disc golf, your sponsor is like a lot of your identity.
Yeah, disc golf obsesses over it. So I will say in disc golf, it is a bigger story than in a lot of other sports. But that doesn't answer the roles question.
Yeah.
My opinion, the more I thought about it, because I was kind of like, I agreed, like knee-jerk reaction was like, yeah, like that doesn't really make sense. And then I thought about it and I was like, here's the thing about disc golf. There's not a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
Okay. The Pro Tour, they have somebody probably hired to run just their social media. I think they are just trying to do a good job, and they know that in disc golf, what people care about during the offseason, the very most, is player movement, right? So they are just trying to do that. Now, is this a situation where they just need to be like, you know what? As much as that gets clicks and comments, like that's not really our job. Like we need to just like. But the other thing is like, you know, who out like we don't really tweet like play and post player movement. We talk about it on the podcast, but like who else is really doing it? That's
maybe
the other
Pro
thing.
Tour just needs a second like thing. It's just Pro Tour News.
That's what I'm wondering is like maybe they just need that because like because I was trying to think of like what the Pro Tour's identity on social media and like what they do most of the time. I was scrolling through it this morning and like what they do most of the time is they're posting highlights. They're trying to hype up players and events. Like that's what they should be doing. They should be promoting the tour, and the tour is comprised of the events, the venues, the players, and like what the players do on the course, the highlights. And for the most part, that is what they're promoting. And I think that's what they should be doing the most of the time because, I mean, they have an endless supply of clips, basically. But, yeah, I think I ended up kind of falling in the I don't care thing because I was kind of like, yeah, it doesn't.
As I think about it more, I start to, like, care about it a little bit less.
Yeah, I was kind of like, yeah, it probably doesn't make sense for them to be posting about it. But also, like, I don't necessarily know that it is a huge deal because.
I think it's a – sorry.
Well, I'm just saying, like, it's not like they're really competing with anybody. Like sports, you have ESPN and Bleacher Report, like, absolutely, like, huge media outlets that are, like, right on top of things. And also, like, I don't really know. Like, I would like to think, and I don't know, maybe this is just incorrect, but I'd like to think if LeBron James, like, left Nike or somebody really synonymous with their brand left and switched, I'm not positive that the main social media accounts of those leagues wouldn't post about it. Like they're trying to get clicks too. Like at the end of the day, social media is a business.
Yeah.
And if you're driving traffic to your page, you're helping your league.
Yeah.
So like the whole question, the biggest question I think you asked is, does it become advertisement? And the answer is yes, to an extent. So I think that's because like the whole like.
But also it doesn't matter. I will say with them though, it doesn't matter that it's free advertisement because we'd be even more riled up if they were doing paid advertisement. Right?
Yeah. Well,
so, because like imagine if we found out that they were being paid to
certainly.
Well, yeah, that'd be a whole different.
Yeah, where they're being paid by a manufacturer to market for them, then we'd be really freaked out about it. So the only way, it's even.
They do it?
Can you imagine if Discraft like bought a package to where like it was the Discraft Pro Tour? Hey man, I don't hate it.
But like you know what I mean. So I feel like it's better. So I think I retract my statement of is it marketing? Because whatever they do, it's going to be marketing, and I'd rather them do free marketing than paid marketing.
Well, I think another thing that was kind of prodding people's interest was they had announced multiple ThoughtSpace Athletics posts, and everybody was like, why is it just happening with ThoughtSpace? But it was like, well, they're really the notable ones that have happened in the last few days. So I have to like keep a check on that. But hey, if we start seeing too much from ThoughtSpace, man,
I think they need to come out with Pro Tour News.
Pro Tour News.
Also, like who would be our?
That sounds
ESPN?
like a competitor, bro.
We
are ESPN.
Yeah.
I think this might be a call to action for us. We got to be the ones posting this stuff.
But we aren't just present news. We're opinion. We are opinions and like.
Well, so is ESPN.
Yeah,
they have all panelists that are all opinionated.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, I think we need to be.
We're a little too. I think we're a little too silly to be ESPN.
I think the
ESPN wishes
the
they were
spot for
silly.
this is like Ultiworld.
Huh?
Like,
Ultiworld.
Do they post about?
No, that's so true.
Like they
Ultiworld
post on their blog, but do they social media post? Or?
I was wondering if it should be the Disc Golf Network. If that should be what Disc Golf Network's role is, because ESPN is where you watch sports.
And a lot of things.
Yeah, but so like, should the Disc Golf Network be the ones posting that stuff?
I don't think Disc Golf Network has the capacity right now.
No, I don't think so. I'm saying like in a perfect world, would that be with it?
Yeah.
I think I'm with you. The even more that I think about it, the more I'm like, I don't think there's anything like it feels weird if you think about it, but there's nothing necessarily wrong with
let
it.
It happen.
Yeah, it's fine. I think it's fine.
Ultiworld is totally like the most newsy place we have, but yeah, I think they tweet. I don't know if I follow them on Instagram or not, if they do much on Instagram.
Yeah, I don't.
But also, like, even their blogs sometimes. Like, lately, listen, I wouldn't be calling out Ultiworld or anything because I like Ultiworld. They do a lot, and they give us a lot of information to use on this podcast. Yeah. But lately, they've been a little slow. And I know it's the new year. There's been holidays. But it's like, listen.
Well, is it
the news out.
guy just doing it? Or is it
what?
Do they have multiple people?
Oh, they got writers.
Oh, they do?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. They got writers, for sure.
I think that the, like, topic that we accidentally stumbled upon is really interesting of like in disc golf is a unique sport where like your sponsorship is like your identity in the sport.
Yeah.
But I would just say I know that's different than a lot of sports. I don't personally have a problem with it. I think it's a way to make disc golf. I think it makes it a little more interesting. Because people are so loyalist to different brands.
Well, it stems from the idea that like golf is the closest comparison where it's just your equipment sponsor, really. But golf, at the end of the day, a 5-iron is a 5-iron. You're going to see some differences in certain clubs. Of course you are. But it's not really going to stand out to anybody. They're going to be like, yep, a 5-iron's a 5-iron, a driver's a driver, putter's a putter, a golf ball's a golf ball.
Yeah.
The players are going to notice that stuff. Sure, there might be some drivers that perform really well, but all those guys on tour have really well-performing clubs that they're set to certain lofts that do what they want. Disc golf discs are way
more variety,
more versatile, and I would just say they have way more variables. They can be way more inconsistent.
Yeah.
And the company you're with at this point in time in disc golf can mean a heck of a lot more. Slowly starting to change as everybody gets bought up by House of Discs.
Yeah, that's very true.
But yeah, I think that's what makes it that way is like it can change an entire player's game.
Yeah.
So